Any true car guy who's been to a car meet has met these people, and trust me, you'll agree that they're annoying too. So before you click off after commenting, buckle in and stay instead, because here are the 5 most annoying types of car enthusiasts. The first one is the worst one. That rhymed. Anyways, it is the "you don't deserve that car." So this guy constantly throws that phrase out. He just goes up to people at car meets and says, "You don't deserve that car," for insert whatever reason he made up. And sometimes it's a really stupid reason to even a really uncontrollable reason. I've been told back when I owned a Mustang GT that I didn't deserve to own it just because I was Asian. Or my freaking race. Something I couldn't control, not something you choose at birth, and that's apparently why I didn't deserve an all-American muscle car according to that guy. It was the most BS thing ever. I also get this told for my Corvette, but for being too young. They say, "You're too young to have that car. You don't deserve that car." And this doesn't just happen to me, it happens to a plethora of other folk. I wish people were open-minded. I wish I could say something like the world is perfect, but it clearly is not. I used to give internet car guys a lot of crap until I realized that they're still young kids who don't even own cars yet, so you know what, they're gonna make mistakes. But the people who throw this phrase out, they're always adults, and they know better. They're just very narrow-minded and just want to control others' lives. It's just disgusting. So the next one is a lot more lighthearted, and it's just the type of car guy I want to tease. They're annoying just in that sense. They aren't actually harmful, but they're still annoying. And that's the one of a kind. The type of car guy to tell you about how his car is one of a kind. There's nothing else in the world like it, even though there are tons of other cars in the world just like it. Especially the normal non-car people who really don't give a crap about the differences. And they're not even like minor details either. I'm talking about like very obvious factory choices. The amount of times I've heard Corvette owners and even Mustang owners, but we'll talk about Corvette owners because it's really funny. VinWiki did this too. I'll link to their video. You always have that one guy in a Corvette club, if not 80% of the guys in the Corvette club are like, "Yeah, so I bought mine in this color and only like 1,000 were made in this color. But then I also have this interior spec, and then I also have the 2LZ trim, and then I also have the carbon fiber dual roof package. So if you do the calculations, only like 50 cars had like this interior spec with this like roof package, and then like 5 only had like this stupid little whatever the heck bezel here combined with the paint color of my car. So if you really just crunch it down with all these features combined, one of a kind, one of a kind. My Corvette's one of a kind." It's not. There are so many freaking Corvettes. If you bought a Corvette that feels super unique, you bought the wrong car. You really did. And we'll talk about this later on in the video for a different kind of thing. And this also happens with Mustangs, where they're like, "Yeah, I have a Celine Mustang. It's super special. I have a Roush Stage 3 Mustang. It's really special," which, don't get me wrong, those are nice, fast cars. Guess what it looks like to not just non-car people, but still to like 70% of car guys even. It just looks like another Mustang. In fact, we probably care more about the factory higher trims. Like a Shelby holds more regard. It doesn't matter who built it. It doesn't matter if it has a one-of-a-kind item on it. It doesn't change the fact people are gonna look at it and be like, "That's a whatever insert car it is." It's not like a Ferrari Enzo. It's not like a Ferrari F430 or a Lamborghini SV or literally any actual exotic car. And that's not to like speak down on the cars. If anything, it's to speak positive. The reason you buy Mustangs and Corvettes is to be part of that community, to have access to that wide amount of modifications as well as repair and maintenance knowledge. Because of how common those cars are, they're really cheap to own. Parts are always made for them. They're really cheap to maintain, they're cheap to repair, and they're even cheap to modify, so they're really fun to customize. The perfectionist. So this is someone who details obsessively despite not actually working at a detail shop. And the perfectionist can also simultaneously also be a "you don't deserve that" type of car guy as well, because they will also use detailing or bad paintwork as an excuse for you not owning your automobile. First off, let's point a few things out. If you actually work at a detail shop, or you are shopping at a new car lot, or you're at a car show with judges, it does make sense for perfectionists to do their job. If you're doing perfectionist things in those correct 3 aforementioned circumstances, you're not annoying. That's just expected. But when you do this at a car meet, heavy emphasis on the word meet, not a show, you are super annoying. I loathe people who just look at someone's eclipse and be like, "Yeah, you've got like 10 rock chips here. I can see them from like 2 feet away, and like from 5 feet away, because I have such a good eye, I can still kind of see them. But from like 15 feet away, they're not visible anymore. But 5 feet away, that's a deal breaker. Your car sucks, bro." And it's like, what? Really? This guy just drives as the clips. Of course it has rock chips. I personally get a lot of crap for this because, get this, I actually drive my car. And that's part of the reason I hate the perfectionists. If not, they're honestly just as hate-worthy as the guy who says you don't deserve your car, because they can fall into the same subcategory. I've been told by people, you don't deserve to own that Corvette. It's too dirty all the time. And in my previous video when I mentioned that I've scraped my splitter, because here are all the places I visited in the United States, I can't plan the exact local roads of every location I go to because I'm not a local there, obviously. Sometimes I'm adventurous, rather a lot of times I'm adventurous. I bought my dream car, I want to enjoy it. Sometimes I'm all the way 1,000 miles from home in the middle of New York, and now all of a sudden I'm gonna scrape on a slope because I've never seen that slope in my entire life. Who cares? I have a splitter, I have an under tray, no harm, no foul. But into the perfectionist eyes, they liked to comment in that video, man, you abuse your Corvette, curbing its wheels, scraping it, you don't deserve to own that car. I bet it has so many rock chips from all the trips and mileage you've put on it. If you're the type of person who thinks like that, get the f out of the car community. These are the exact opposite of internet car guys. So internet car guys are annoying because they don't own a car yet they always criticize other cars. But like I said, they're young. I forgive them for being a bit simpleton-like. But perfectionists are usually full-grown adults, and they're the opposite. They're someone who does own a car, but refuses to drive it because they're scared to ruin it. Eventually, it gets to a point where these people don't own the car owns them. In fact, sometimes they even refuse to drive it, keep the miles as low as possible because they don't want to risk damaging it. It just doesn't make sense to garage queen them. Now, I did talk about garage queens in another video if you don't know what I mean when I say garage queen, so I'll link to it up here. If you have a collector's car, if you have a Pagani Zonda, a Pagani Huayra, a freaking Koenigsegg Agera, or literally any Koenigsegg or Bugatti or a Ferrari Enzo, it would make sense to keep those cars pristine. And I hate to say it because I think every car should be driven. If you gave me a Koenigsegg, I'm still going to drive it. But the reality is those cars do appreciate. And financially speaking, it makes sense to take care of them and even obsess over them to the point that they are ridiculously valuable. Meanwhile, do you want to guess what happens when you garage queen a Corvette, a Mustang, a Camaro, a Challenger, a BRZ, a WRX, or literally any normal attainable sports car? It doesn't go up. My favorite story I like to tell people is this freaking fool who bought a 2009 ZR1, drove it 63 miles home from the dealership, and then never drove it again, sold it in 2019, and lost $10,000. He bought the car for $108,000 and it sold for $98,000. And technically, adjusted for inflation, since he bought it for $108,000 in 2009, he actually lost more than $10,000. Wow, who would have guessed? The highest end ZR1 level Corvette, even when it's kept literally new from the lot, still depreciated. You know why? Because it's a Corvette. Corvettes aren't above you. They are still cars. This isn't a piece of artwork, and it's a good thing that they aren't. You should buy these cars as driver's cars. If you think I'm abusing my Corvette, that is the most weak mindset I've ever been exposed to my entire life. That is just so wimpy and just fragile and just fearful. It's ridiculous to think the Corvette's some higher being that is above you. It does not own you. You own it. It will not break down on you like a Ferrari or Lamborghini does. It just keeps running, so please take advantage of that and just drive the dang thing. The next type of annoying car enthusiast is mods for brains. Mods for brains is the guy who always uses modded cars to win arguments. They'll be on a European car comparison video where it's like a stock AMG GT versus like a BMW or whatever, and whichever car loses, they'll be like, well, that car would have won if it was tuned by like Vengeance, Tryhard Edgelord Racing out here in America, where they could shove quadruple turbos with NOS and meth injection and blah blah blah. Dude, in most countries in the world, like literally everywhere other than the United States, because we're really lucky here in the US, modding isn't even legal, especially performance modding, and even cosmetic modding. Like I know in most places in Europe, you can't even put a wing on your car, so they have to freaking wind tunnel test it before you can do a wing. And a wing, don't get me wrong, isn't really cosmetic. It's much bigger than a spoiler. It does actually generate downforce, but it's not nearly as dangerous as engine modifications, yet that's how stringent they are. So can you really blame the people watching that video for not caring about modded cars in those arguments? Like the amount of times I see Americans like drip into European comment sections and just be like, oh well, this modded car would have won. If it was modded, it would have won. Why don't you guys care? This one's better value if you mod it. They literally can't mod their cars, which is why they're willing to spend more money on cars that come better from factory. Like admittedly, you come in America, a Jaguar F-Type SVR, that's a really hard buy, which is why they don't sell a lot in America, because there's a lot of better cars you could buy for cheaper that could easily outpace it. But it does sound good. Given how good it sounds, that's irrelevant when you can literally modify any car in America to sound as good as it. But what if you lived in a country that doesn't allow sound modifications? Guess what? You're gonna pay the premium because you want that sound. And for Mods for Brains, the other thing they need to understand is that there's no end to using modding as an argument to win, especially when swapping is involved. Who's to say that someday someone doesn't jet engine swap a Prius? Then the Prius becomes the fastest car in the world. If someone talks about a Bugatti Chiron, super sport, doesn't matter, jet engine swap Prius. Well, you can even make a smart car fast if you throw enough money at it, which is why I think Mods for Brains, if you're the guy who shows up to car meets and or shows up to internet comment sections and you always use modded cars as a way to win arguments, no one's gonna find your argument valid, because not everyone wants to modify a car, not everyone has the money to modify a car, not everyone has the time to modify a car, and most importantly, not everyone lives in a country that even lets them mod a car. And the final entry on this list is that one car guy who you see in comment sections or meet at car meets. Oh, heaven forbid you meet these guys at car meets, but let's say you meet someone, local town. I knew a guy in Indy, had a really cool car collection, alright? Amazing Porsche collection. And then this guy, this typical annoying car guy though, came up to him, looked at his garage, went up to him, looked him dead in the eye, and just says, yeah, I have a collection like that too. In GTA 5! This joke sucks, it's not funny, stop going to meets, stop repeating it, no one likes you. I hope the next time you boot up Grand Theft Auto 5 your house spontaneously combusts into flames. Bye.